So let's go to this point.
Yeah.
We've got events. They happened in the 1st century or they didn't.
Yeah.
The court documents we've got, all scholarship, all biblical scholarship accepts the 4 Gospels are from the 1st century AD.
Yeah.
There was a time when some thought John's Gospel was from the 2nd century. Then they found ancient manuscripts showing it's 1st century.
Yeah.
So that's not the issue. So we've got all documents written potentially in the lifetime of eyewitnesses to Jesus' preaching. Potentially.
Yeah.
So we got core events. Now, and the core events, as we were saying, he preaches, he dies on the cross and he's raised from the dead. Now, in Islam, it says that Jesus was a Muslim. In the Quran, it says that.
Yeah.
And it says the apostles were Muslims. In the Quran. And Jesus did not die on the cross, and obviously he didn't rise from the dead.
Yeah.
And he's not God.
Yeah.
But actually, all those documents that I mentioned from the 1st century AD contradict the Quran, which is from the 6th century, at the 7th century at the latest.
I don't think...
And in addition to that, not just those documents I mentioned, but all subsequent documents, sorry, I spat there, from the 2nd century, 3rd century, 4th century, all those early Christian writers, they all say he preached, he died on the cross, and they say he rose from the dead. And so if according to Islam, Jesus was a Muslim, and the apostles were Muslims, they go around preaching Islam, where are the documents at least saying of this, that the Islamic Jesus? Where are the Catholics who criticise so many of the heresies? Where aren't they criticising the Islamic heresy? And Bas Ehrman wrote a book called Early Christianities.
Yeah.
Different heresies, as we Catholics call them, from the early years. And in fact, not one of those heresies Bas Ehrman records is an Islamic heresy. There was basically no Islam until Muhammad invented it.
No, but you understand what the Quran means when it calls Jesus a Muslim and calls the apostles Muslim.
Yeah, and I'm saying that kind of
it's not saying it as a religion, it's saying it as a belief.
And why is there not that version of religion where it says, oh gosh, look, don't follow these Catholics, don't follow these other Christians. Jesus did not die on the cross, Allah saved him, he didn't rise from the dead, he wasn't God. Where are these Muslim writers from the early centuries?
The church already mentioned in the year 97. So 97?
107.
107. In the year 107, the Catholic Church was already mentioned.
Why no mention of Islam? Why is the phrase Islam not in any early writings? Why is Allah, the name, not in any early writings? Surely, if Islam were true and Jesus was, as the Quran says, a Muslim and the apostles were Muslims, and all those who had Islam preached to them by Jesus and the apostles, surely there'd be some writings. No, but then it's the name of God that's used. And anyway, put that to one side.
It became a name, but it's not a name.
Put that to one side.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Just use this problem of there should be some trace, a massive trace of the Islamic Jesus, the apostles' Islamic Jesus, and the other followers who learnt Islam from Jesus and the apostles. Not a single writing attesting to this. Muslims have said, oh, yes, Ebionites and Nazarenes, because Ebionites denied Jesus was God.
Yeah.
But they denied that Jesus was born of a virgin. But the Quran says Jesus was born of a virgin. Yeah. So the Ebionites were not Muslims. Well, and many Ebionites and Nazarenes celebrated the resurrection of Jesus from the dead. So that means on an historical analysis, Jesus was not a Muslim. There was no Islamic Jesus. There were no apostles who were Muslims. Therefore, the Quran is wrong. It's made up in the time of Muhammad by whoever made it up.
I'm not educated that much about early Christianity and the Ebionites and all that, so I can't speak on that.
No Muslim who comes here dares to suggest that there are writings which suggest Jesus was a Muslim or the apostles were Muslims. There's nothing in the historical record. And I say, if those who say, oh, it was destroyed, I repeat, the Catholic writers like St. Irenaeus, who wrote in the early 3rd century AD, write a book called Adversus Heresies, against the heresies, and he went after all the heresies of his time. And Catholic writers did this again and again. They would have gone after these Muslims if they existed, I assure you. Yeah. Anybody who said Jesus wasn't God or didn't get crucified and didn't rise from the dead, they'd be writing about them and condemning them. Right. They don't even write about such people. It's like they couldn't care less because they didn't exist.